What is your strategy for getting out the vote? You're big on that, like
Yes.
getting registered voters and everything, and that's been your thing. So what is it looking like for 2024?
Well, my organization is Early Vote Action, earlyvoteaction.com. I'm focused on Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. We win those 5, we win the 270 that we need to elect Donald Trump. So, some people may say, why not Georgia, etc. Those 5 win the election. And so, while we're focused on early voting and legal ballot harvesting, you cannot do either of those 2 things unless first people are registered to vote at their current address. So we have a robust voter registration operation going to things like gun shows and farmers markets, Home Depot, Walmart, meeting people where they are. And to give you an example, Pennsylvania 2 years ago had 595,000 more Dems than Republicans. Now we have narrowed that 200,000 in 2 years' time. So our voter registration is making a real impact.
I know that there's an issue with, low propensity voters. How do you guys target everything like that?
So our app is Early Vote Action. It's available on both on iPhone and Android, and it's a free application. And so when you go onto Voters Near Me for either door knocking, postcards, phone calling, or texting, we have 4 different methods of communication. It gives you Republicans based on your current location. Now, that's for like volunteer recruitment, precinct chairs, that kind of stuff. We can also put in independent voters. You can put in low propensity Rs, the 1 out of 4 voters. And we even have Democrats that we're reaching out to. We're reaching out to members of the Jewish community with that the Democrat Party is embracing Hamas. And we're reaching out to young registered Democrat males in inner cities with a pro-peace and anti-war message. So we have L2 data for all 50 states. So no matter where you're watching this interview from, if you're in Alaska or California or Virginia, you can use our app to not only activate people locally, but you can use your time and talent from California into Pennsylvania to flip that state from blue to red.
What has your relationship been like with the RNC since they've changed leadership?
Well, the previous administration, I reached out to that chairwoman for over 300 days with not a response. And within 1 week of Laura Trump becoming co-chair of the RNC, she called me, and I had the opportunity for the first time to meet with her at the RNC headquarters in DC. So we have a level of communication that the grassroots did not have a seat at the table. Now we do.
What's your reaction to the lawfare that's being pushed against President Trump?
I am convicted to vote for President Donald Trump, and my vote for him is locked up. And I say that because I want the left to know, I want the Democrats to know that the more that they indict him, the more that they unite us. The American people are coming in support of Donald Trump. And furthermore, I know that some Republicans may scratch their heads and kind of look at me cockeye, but we are courting the former felon vote. I was just at the DuPage County Jail. I got my hair done, I was looking cute. I wanted to go into the jail and meet the inmates and court their vote. In Pennsylvania, as soon as you are no longer incarcerated, your rights are immediately restored. We're getting a list of every single former felon for Pennsylvania. President Trump is coming to Philly next Saturday, and we're going to be reaching out to them in an effort to talk about the injustice that many of them suffered is the same injustice that President Trump is suffering. And so therefore, we're asking for their votes.
I actually recently heard about that there's like a lot of maybe convicted felons that don't realize that
they can vote
actually. So you guys are doing a push for that.
Well, it gets even better, because my organization is pushing something called Truck Joe Biden, and I say that as classy and lovingly as possible here on Breitbart. And 3.5 million truckers are in America. Half of that community votes. Now, when I was at the DuPage County Jail, the sheriff there, Sheriff Kendrick, I believe it is, he was telling me a lot of the former felons go into the trucking industry. So therefore, it shows that many of those people perhaps don't vote because they are unaware that they can vote. So at July 11th through 13th, we're going to the Iowa 80 truck stop, the world's largest truck stop, to unveil our Truck Joe Biden Trump 2024 campaign. And we're going to be having decals that go on owner-operator rigs that say, truck the vote, truck for Trump, truck Joe Biden, and it's going to have a QR code for vote.gov so anybody that sees this mobile moving billboard can get registered to vote all across the country. And furthermore, I'm going to Sturgis this year, and I'm going to be surrounded by 500,000 bikers, and it's going to be amazing. And a lot of that community as well. We have people that have a record, shall we say. I want those votes, and I'm going to make sure that people are aware of the laws in the state that the conviction was first done in, and talking about if their rights were restored, I'm going to get them registered to vote.
Are you seeing a lot of that, like convicted
Yes.
felons? But are you seeing like convicted felons express support for Trump because they're
Yes.
seeing what's happened to him and everything? And I noticed you said July 11th is the date that you're doing that. What's your reaction to the timing of the sentencing date, right ahead of the RNC?
I'm so shocked that the Democrats would indict Donald Trump in a presidential year before the RNC convention in an effort to probably help the swamp and the establishment try to replace Donald Trump. But this is Trump 2024 or bust. The American people are not going to accept any other presidential candidate except for Donald J. Trump. And I will say, even prior to the conviction, I was at the Philly Expo Center in Phoenixville, which is just north of Philly, and this guy comes up, it's at a gun show, and I get him registered. Pennsylvania's a closed primary state, so I was talking to him and I was like, you probably want to pick a party, and he's like, what party is Donald Trump? And I said, he's a Republican, and he's like, I'm a Republican. Now, fast forward, I've been texting with him. I text him with the people I register, and I go, hey, Matt, Donald Trump is coming to Philly. He's coming to your neck of the woods. And he goes, I want to go. And he goes, Scott, I'll help you the entire time register voters there in Philly. So really, the work that we do at Early Vote Action is force multiplying. That it may be one person I'm investing my time, I'm investing myself, pouring myself into, but it pays dividends. The work that we're doing is peer-to-peer and grassroots, and that's why we're seeing so much success in Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and we're expanding to Michigan.
Do you have a personal anecdote of something you've seen where, you know, talking to convicted felons that you're registering to vote? And
Well, part of it is communicating, and at first I got a little bit of heat until I explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. But when I put out, for example, in Pennsylvania, as soon as you're no longer incarcerated, your rights are restored, even if you're on probation, even if you're on parole. I've had a lot of felons sliding into my DMs on X, and they go, Scott, my conviction was in Missouri. Can you help me? I called the Missouri Secretary of State. As long as they have done their time, their rights are restored. I got that felon registered to vote, even from the comfort of my home in Virginia. I had another Pennsylvania former felon reach out to me. He was not aware that he could. I had another wife go, Scott, you inspired me to get my husband. He did not know. This education campaign is already producing results, and that's why me having this platform on X, you giving me a platform via Breitbart, is actually going to empower a lot of people with this education.
you think we'll get the Rust Belt states?
I am confident in Ohio, in Iowa. We're making such big progress in Pennsylvania. I mean, look, I know people think I'm neurotic, but the Sun Belt is looking good. Arizona's good so far, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia, and we win any one of those blue wall states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin, it's done. It's over. We have won.
I was told that you have a unique way of reaching out to Catholic Christian communities and registering them to vote. Could you tell us about that?
Well, people really need to understand, if every Christian in America actually voted, we would never lose another presidential election ever. And 30% of evangelicals, it's not that they don't even vote, 30% are not registered to vote. So again, it comes back to the theme of what my organization is doing. It's voter registration. We need to be at every single church. We need to reach out to our priests and ask for permission to set up a nonpartisan, non-political voter registration drive. You're not going against Trump. We want to get people registered so they can go from the pews to the polls. Now, we're also, I mean, look at the Democrat Party embracing Hamas openly. We are seeing big moves from the Muslim community to the Republican Party because A, they don't like Joe Biden's anti-peace and the Middle East policies, and B, they don't like the Democrats waging a war against children by pushing, shall we say, pornographic materials in schools. The Muslim community is ripe to come over to the Republican Party. And with the Jewish community, again, with Hamas being embraced by the Democrats, I see people of faith in this election. They are going to be a very important coalition for Donald Trump. And last, people really forget Pennsylvania was lost by 80,000 votes. There are 80,000 Amish in Pennsylvania. Wisconsin was lost by 20,000 votes. There are 20,000 Amish in Pennsylvania. And this community, think about it, they're religious, they want religious freedom. They're dairy farmers and small businesses, they want raw milk. The Department of Agriculture is coming after raw milk. We all know Amos Miller. They want bodily autonomy, not to have forced vaccinations. For all those reasons, they are ripe to join the Republican Party. We go from sawmill to dairy farm. I even milked a cow by hand at an Amish farm, and we're courting the Amish vote. I say to them, whenever I see an Amish person, I know it's profiling, but I literally say to them, if the Amish collectively voted, if they mobilized, we would win this election, and your community would help save our country and help stop human suffering. So I am courting felons. I am courting the Amish. I'm courting frat boys after the UNC Chapel Hill. I'm courting young people with an anti-war, pro-peace message. I'm courting the black community, which is irate that Democrats are choosing illegal aliens over black, white, and brown lives. I literally, in this election, am leaving no stone unturned to elect Donald Trump and asking for every single gosh darn vote.